Hello and welcome to The Insider, a show designed to clue you into the biggest news, events and announcements inside the video games industry, discussing with you some things you may know, some things you may not, and the glue that holds it all together is a little bit of my own opinion. My name is Paul James, thank you very much for watching, and let's kick off another episode. So remasters of EA IP have been a topic of conversation for several years now, certainly since the PS4 and Xbox One first kicked off in 2013. And over many years, EA executives, including Peter Moore, Patrick Soderlund, and many more have kind of flipped back and forth as to what was going to happen when it came to EA remasters and re-releases on the current generation of consoles. And to this point, none have actually released. They've stuck to their word, and look, there were some lines from Peter Moore, quote, "It's just not what we do, and we just want to focus on the future." These lines are really powerful and suggest that EA had no intent at all of going back and remastering any of their games, some of the much beloved titles that came out last gen, including Mass Effect, Dead Space, Mirror's Edge, and many more. Well, some events this week have changed that entirely, so join me in this episode of The Insider where I break down exactly what's happened and what it might mean going forward. This week, EA confirmed one of the worst kept secrets in the video games industry. Burnout Paradise is being remastered and it is coming to the PS4, Xbox One and PC in a month from now. Now this game had been speculated for a while. There'd been leaks on Amazon, there'd been leaks in Taiwan or Thailand I believe. There'd been a whole bunch of speculation that goes back a few months now that had led us all to believe that this was the thing that was happening, but it has only now just been confirmed. But the fact of the matter is, this flies in the face of some of the comments that Peter Moore had made in the past that said decisively that EA weren't going there. But maybe with Peter Moore's absence, a policy change and a few other things going on at EA, maybe they're now considering going back into that back catalogue as this Burnout Paradise remaster suggests. Let's discuss what implications that might have next. Whilst there's a great number of people that will suggest that Burnout Paradise isn't the best Burnout game and probably isn't the best candidate to be remastered in such a way, I'll agree with them. Burnout Paradise is a fantastic game and it does hail from that PS3 360 generation. And there's a whole bunch of classic franchises that either began there for EA or certainly hit their prime in that console generation that EA, assuming that remasters are now on the table, might be interested in pursuing. Some of those will include high-profile franchises such as Mirror's Edge, Dante's Inferno, Dead Space, Mass Effect, Dragon Age, The Saboteur, Crisis, sorry I've got a long list here, the Alice Madness Returns game, Need for Speed, obviously we've got some new ones this generation, but they might want to remaster some of the old ones, SSX, some of the Medal of Honors, maybe not PS3 or 360 games, but maybe the older ones on the PS2 and the original Xbox, Skate is one that's been speculated for quite some time, especially with the quite notable failure of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5. There's some opportunities here that EA could potentially explore. Will all of these be worthwhile? Absolutely not. But should they consider them? Absolutely. So in the next segment, we're going to discuss some of those games that should potentially be coming across to our new generation consoles to give people either a new opportunity to explore some classics or an additional opportunity to revisit some beloved classics. Let's see what they are next.
Go out there and give them hell. You were born to do this.
So what EA IP should be getting a remaster? Well, there's a whole bunch of prime candidates, but of course the chief among them is Mass Effect. This is the franchise that was really the most popular EA IP in their stable, in the BioWare stable, all last generation. Mass Effect 2 and 3 in particular are hailed as some of the best examples of third-person shooters crossed with RPG elements in the industry full stop. It's an incredible game, incredible IP, and there's much that could be done in terms of polishing this experience up and re-releasing it for the masses. Some people to experience for the first time, others to go back and explore and fall in love with again, especially given that some have a little bit of a bitter taste in their mouth off the back of Mass Effect Andromeda. Another BioWare IP that needs to be considered is of course Dragon Age. Dragon Age Origins is still a cult classic. It was one that was really well received, it was one that sold quite well, but there is a hardcore community that still loves and adores every bit of that game. A game that is now 10 years old. Dragon Age 2, not necessarily as popular, but certainly had its community, and I think a bundle that includes both those games on the current generation systems would be really well received. Crysis is an IP that was established technically through Crytek last generation, but EA had the publishing rights, and we saw Crysis 1 originally on PC, but make its way to consoles down the track, and then of course Crysis 2 and 3 that were all multi-platform. Those games were really well received, they are adored for their incredible visuals, and whilst those visuals might have dated a little bit, with a little bit of spit shine, they could really shine and really glow on this new console generation. It's something for EA to consider. Dead Space. Now this is a touchy subject, given that EA themselves were responsible for shutting down Visceral Games, the studio that developed them. But they are excellent IP, and potentially if there's anyone in the EA family that is considering continuing this IP in any way, shape or form, it would benefit them to consider re-releasing Dead Space 1, 2, 3 on the current generation systems for a bargain price, give people an opportunity to experience some of the best examples of horror in the industry. And Dead Space 3. Battlefield. We've seen a lot of different variations of that over the journey. We've seen Battlefield 1, which was obviously back in World War setting. We've seen some very futuristic stuff. And I'm not looking for either of those when it comes to a remaster on the platform. We've got those already. What would be fantastic is a return to the Battlefield Bad Company sub-franchise. They are some incredibly popular shooters, and they do things a little bit differently. They have a slightly comedic edge. They're doing some fun, awesome things, and they would be prime candidates to get remastered and put on the new console generation. Another one to consider, EA. And finally, SSX. There are snowboarders everywhere that are looking for another opportunity to play a game just like those old SSX games. EA has the IP. Let's make it happen, guys. Let's get it on the platform.
Go, go, go!
There are plenty of prime candidates in that EA stable that could be making a re-release or remaster or reappearance on this current console generation. Some from the last generation, but there's others from before, and PlayStation and Xbox are facilitating these developers and publishers to get those games out there. So it's something for EA to consider. Certainly the ball's now rolling with this Burnout remaster. What's to come? It remains to be seen. Let me know in the comments with some of the games that you think you would like to see, some of the games you think might actually be re-released or remastered. And until next time, thank you very much for watching The Insider. If you've enjoyed it, consider liking, sharing and subscribing to the channel. All those buttons are down below here, and by subscribing you get access to weekly episodes of The Insider, of Patched, the Video Games Club. There's tons of Player 2 plays, trailers and a whole bunch more. All content that can only be found at our YouTube channel, so please consider checking it out. For written content, make sure to visit the website player2.net.au, and that allows you access to reviews, previews, opinion pieces, features, news, the Player 2 Writers Draft. There's a whole bunch of awesome stuff that's being contributed to Player 2 by some of the best talent in Australia, so please consider checking it out. For rolling updates, you can find me at PaulJamesP2 on Twitter, the website at Player2AU on Twitter, and until next time, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you later.